so pregnant. Hey new mama, welcome back. If you're new, click the red subscribe button down below and let's go. Today I'm going to talk to you about a couple natural induction techniques. I am currently super pregnant. Now I'm 38 weeks and 5 days. I hope to have this baby out in the next 5 days. So that's where we're at. That's why I'm trying all these techniques, and I hope if you're in the same situation, you can try them too. So, and a lot of the information I'm going to talk about today is from this lovely book, which you may have seen if you were pregnant, because I kept seeing it everywhere. This is by Genevieve Howland, and she runs a YouTube channel called Momma Natural. I'll link it down below, and it's fantastic. A lot of the stuff I've been doing is from this book and from her channel, and she's just a wonderful human being. I absolutely adore her. The first and most obvious one that I'm sure you've heard of is to have sex. There's many reasons, I'm sure. One really interesting one, because I'm kind of a nerd like that, is that the chemical Cervidil, which they sometimes give to you in the hospital to induce you, is actually derived from pig semen. Ew. So some people would just prefer to use regular old human semen. So if you feel the same way, think of it that way. Although I have heard it can take up to 3 times as much. So have lots and lots of sex. The other reason is just that, it releases oxytocin, and that's good. That's actually the #1 chemical that causes you to go into labor. So with that being said, I have also been learning a lot about dates. Like medjool dates, which are the bigger ones, and I can't think of what the smaller ones are called, but they say have a similar oxytocin effect where it can shorten your first stage labor. And what else? Someone mentioned recently that it can reduce bleeding after labor. I've also heard too that if you eat dates after you give birth, you essentially don't need Pitocin to shrink up your uterus. However, I will say, I denied the Pitocin after my first child, and I had no issues whatsoever with anything. Breastfeeding also does the same thing. So if you're breastfeeding, you're probably, talk to your doctor. You make that informed decision. The other thing, nipple stimulation, we all know about that. I think pairing that with sex or orgasm is even better. However, I did just recently read that it's not just the nipple, it's the whole boob. Get in there. What else? Red raspberry leaf tea. Now, Genevieve from the Momma Natural, she is a big advocate for the red raspberry leaf tea, and there's a recipe in her book on how to make a super concentrated dose of it, which is what I did today. And I have been drinking that all day, and I have to say, I've noticed like some tightness, not necessarily a contraction, but red raspberry leaf tea is supposed to help your uterus contract more efficiently. It basically gives it a little workout, I think, is how I'm thinking of it. And I think it's kind of just like a toning effect to basically you're working it out. You're working out your uterus. But I think the reason this, she calls it Labor Day tea, is supposed to be so effective is because it is such a concentrated dose. And I have felt like it's not necessarily contraction, but it's just like an overall tightness. So I feel like I'm getting a good workout. Or that my uterus is getting a good workout. So that's great. Hopefully I see some real results here soon. Let's see. What other natural induction techniques? I would say there are 2 that I have heard on several other YouTube videos about this topic, and that is the castor oil and the primrose oil capsule. The castor you take by mouth. My doctor did not advise that I do that because it essentially just gives you diarrhea. And who wants diarrhea? Especially right before they have a baby. Not me. So I didn't do the castor oil. However, if you're desperate and you want to try it, go for it. The primrose oil, I've heard that you can either take it or you can pop one of the capsules up in there and it's supposed to soften everything. I've heard women have great success with it. However, again, my doctor was not, did not recommend that one. And she didn't have a reason why, she just didn't. And personally, if you think about it, you don't really want to be sticking a lot of things up in there, because, you know, once you do go into labor and the cervix starts to dilate, you do not want to introduce anything that could cause an infection. That would not be good. So just keep that in mind. And then the other one that I was thinking of that I'm going to do is, obviously there's spicy food, but then there's also pineapple. And I just saw in Genevieve's book that she has a recipe for a spicy pineapple. So, I don't know if I'm going to try that because I'm not at all a big spicy fan, and it's like pineapple with cayenne and salt. And I don't think I can do the cayenne, but I could go for Mexican anytime. So yeah. So maybe we'll do that. With my first daughter, I ate 2 pineapples in like 2 days. So I don't think that's really what caused me to go into labor at all, but it is an option. And the reason they say pineapple works is because the acidity basically causes your bowels to be agitated. And the idea is that, same with castor oil, if your bowels are agitated, it's right next to your uterus, and so the idea is that it will agitate the uterus as well. I don't know if I really buy that, because you're talking about 2 separate systems. Just because you have cramps in one, just because you're having boob cramps, doesn't mean you're going to start having contractions, in my mind. Oh, 2 other ones: walking your ass off and squatting. I don't know. I kind of feel like maybe the walking could work. I need to do that, but I just haven't gotten around to it. So probably this weekend I'll head to the mall and get my walk on. Hope you have a great week and a good pregnancy, and leave a comment below. Like this video if you're ready to be induced. And don't forget to subscribe. Down there. Sorry, down there. I hope it's there. I hope, you know, the red button. Hit the red button.